Well, I got the workbench in place yesterday. It's a pretty good setup. Probably make some shelves underneath here too. Probably going from here to there or whatever. I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to do exactly, but I can always make more space for a lot of stuff and even bolt it to the wall here, which it's incredibly strong. Shit, it's not moving. I can't even budge it. But anyway, this video is going to be about, I picked up, well, what I used to always use was for installing seals or for installing bearing races. I used to use stuff like a really blunt screwdriver, like, I should bring this over here this way, something like this. And if I was putting in a bearing race, I would just tap all around, not on the race itself, but on the edge, and get it all around here with the hammer. Or I would try to find a big socket like that, or like that. Sometimes they weren't big enough. I also had this, which was for, this is actually for, you know, ball joint separator and stuff. You can use this for seals too, you know, it works. But I decided to get a specific bearing race and seal kit. And it comes with this little thing here. Like if you're installing a seal, you would hit it in this way. And if you're installing a bearing race, you just unbolt this, slide this off. This just comes right off, right? This just unbolts. Comes right off. And if you're installing a bearing race, it would just go that way. So like, you know, and actually I would use a little grease on this too, because you don't want to mar up the bearing race, even though this is all aluminum and stuff and the bearing race is steel. So I picked this puppy up. It's a good damn tool to have, because I'm going to probably be changing some cam seals and a main crankshaft seal on a Sebring. I might be changing a rear transmission seal on the Samurai. Rear transmission seal maybe on the El Camino. And the motorcycle, there's these bearing seals, wheel bearing seals. I used to use, which actually is a very, very, very good tool for pulling them out, and the socket will work fine to get it back in there. I used to use a small claw hammer. It fit in there perfect. But this is one tool I picked up, and it says, well, at least this one's made in the USA. And I'm actually going to show you what it is. It's that's actually made in the USA. Believe it or not. LISLE. That's the damn name of it. That's the part number. This is an adjustable seal puller. So you can get it in there. Now, I always used pry bars, the end of actually a screwdriver, kind of tapped it in there and moved them out. I pulled out a lot of seals. I never actually had the right tool. But I figured, you know, made in the USA, man. I'm getting that sucker. But, you know, this kit alone, this is Chinese bobber, but they're pretty much everything's China now. It's getting ridiculous. But, well, I'll be doing USA work and trying to get USA parts with it. But, you know, you can get away without using this. Like if you have this thing. And I always like using this hammer, just kind of tap it light. But this is actually a something for pulling off the separating ball joints and stuff from the lower control arms and stuff. It's a press. But a lot of times you can use these for installing seals, because they're pretty damn big. And most sockets you got will cover a lot of the small seals like that. So you can get away with it. But the problem is, even these won't work sometimes, because if you have a seal that has a shaft in the middle, and then that goes through the middle of it, plus it has, you know, it's a long shaft like that, you might need to use something like this. Or you might need to find a pipe. Or you might need to find a deep socket like this, you know. Now, this is only a small fraction of the tools I have. Believe it or not, I'm a desk jockey, and believe me, it's like I have 40 years experience doing mechanical work and shit. do besides. But you know, for the money, you're better off getting the right shit to do the job. And you know, this is one thing that was made in the USA anyway. So if you don't have the puller, I could tell you one thing: it's actually a hell of a lot harder getting the seals out of the damn thing than it is getting them installed. Like, you really don't need this too much, because I put in lots of different seals and bearings. I never had this. I always use sockets. I always used, in the case of the bearing races, I would just tap all around the edge of it, not on the bearing surface with the screwdriver edge. Just kind of get it in there, around there. I'd be going around the bearing race like that. And just as long as it isn't cockeyed, it would go in there until it bottomed out. Or, you know, that's if I didn't have a socket big enough. Usually, wheel bearing races, I didn't have a socket big enough unless it was a pipe or something like this. But this thing, this is perfect, because this will fit right on the race surface, and I put some grease on there. Attach the handle like that, you know, unscrew this, attach the handle, and put some grease on it so it goes in there nice and good. Make sure there's no burrs where it's being driven into. Tap it in, and save you a lot of bullshit. But the main problem I always had is to really get the damn seals out. That's the hardest thing. And this Made in the USA tool is, I think, is definitely worth it. I'm gonna be giving it a try because I got the adjustable one. The other thing is, I think, well, what I would do with this tool too, you notice how it's riveted right here in the middle? If I find that I can't, this handle gets in my way, what I'll do is I'll drill this damn rivet out of here and use the vice grips and grip it on, you know, use the vice grips like this to hold the tool. Like if I need to hold this way or some shit, or say this handle's just too big, or maybe I need to use the small vice grips or something, you know. And then I would just reinstall this rivet with my rivet gun, because I got a 1/4-inch rivet gun, or just put a bolt in it, because you might want to have, in certain situations where some of these new cars, man, these front-wheel drive cars where things are really, really tight, this big handle might get in the way, you know. So you can take it off of there and put a different handle on it too. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can modify your tools as needed. So anyway, just want to point this out, and I'm glad I got this workbench up here, because I used to always use the hood of the El Camino. That was my workbench, or the tailgate. So you know, after that thing gets prettied up a little bit, we're gonna be using this puppy right here. And it is strong, man. I mean, I'm like, ugh, nothing. Ugh. I'll push on it. Ugh. God, I was thinking about bolting it to the freaking house. I says, I don't think so. I need to do that. This damn thing is strong as hell. Anyway, just a quick update. These are cheap tools, and if you do a lot of work, you need them. You really do. I mean, it saves you enough time that you know it's worth your time. Especially that, because I always found it's not that hard to get the seals in, or the bearings. It's hard to get the seals out. That thing, I think, is really needed. I use the, like I said, I used to use a little claw hammer on the Harley wheel bearing seals that fit in there perfect, but that'll work. That'll work. And it can be modified for really tight areas.